Another thing that I think is really important to start talking about now, especially because of the legislative climate surrounding healthcare, is how do we envision cooperative access to affordable healthcare to one another, and how does this tie into the history of mutual aid societies? What can we learn about how healthcare has been provided in the past, and how do we attract agorist healthcare practitioners?
I saw a Facebook group for that.
Yeah. But it should be part of the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I thought for sure Mariana was going to bring this up, but Roderick Wong had a paper on mutual aid. It's one of the Market Anarchy series over there.
Oh, good. Okay.
It's about how medicine used to be very affordable before government fixed it and raised the costs. And I'm going to kill that person. So I thought that was definitely relevant to the whole idea of cooperatives.
Yeah,
and this attracts all types, by the way. I had a conversation with somebody in public about this. He said, I don't have any insurance, I put up my back. And I said, a group of people banded together and cooperatively paid a healthcare practitioner. Did you know that that's illegal? And he went,
it is?
I said, yeah, he was impersonating an HMO. And I had a whole conversation about it. It's a really great point of entry at this point, culturally and historically.
There's a couple other examples I know of, and the folks that are here, like I had a health crisis that was, financially devastating, and I used my social network, and, I just kept negotiating, and I'm still negotiating with the hospital and the doctors and all that. So I say, wow, we do need a better system than this, Here's a couple examples that I know of. There is in New Hampshire a practice that I think it's a subscription-based, you pay a certain amount a month.
It's like a small-scale HMO.
But it's not an insurance company or HMO,
Yeah.
It's like a different legal structure. I forget the name of them, I'm sorry about that.
Get back to me on that. I'm totally interested in looking at that structure.
We'll
and
talk about it on the social networks.
Yeah.
And the other one I heard of, and I think I heard of it on a conservative talk radio show, it was called Christian Care Medishare.
Ooh.
And the way it worked, I believe, was you become a member at some nominal amount, and if somebody becomes ill and has these bills, I think everybody agrees to pay a portion of their bill. Some structure like that. But anyway, people are trying these models.
It's good to have multiple points, by the way, so that you don't have a single point of failure.
Yeah.
To address things from more than one direction is always productive.
Right. Another one, go ahead, I'm sorry.
A lot of companies are able to self-insure.
Yeah.
And
Really?
so the question would be, my husband's company self-insures. They pay for everything, yet I guess they have somebody manage it. But there might be some way to self-insure with a group, because I think that's essentially what you're talking about doing.
Yes.
Yeah, we have things like people using Facebook for legal defense funds. Oh, so-and-so got arrested, send him $5, You could say so-and-so threw their back out, send $1 to the fund, things like that. And with PayPal, you can do it instantly, yeah.
I think one of the big things that I've realized is that this was just an interest of mine, and then I went and tried to find as much information on it as I could, and it was like, okay, I think that, let's say delivering police services coercively is immoral, for example. What are the options? Let's look at how else it can't be this way everywhere in the world. And it turns out that in some places in South Africa, if you have like a fire emergency, it's kind of like AAA. You can pay $30 a year for fire protection, and when you call 911, they come. But if you're part of the cooperative and you pay that $30 a year subscription fee, then it's covered. But if you're not, they'll still come, but then you have to pay the repair charges or the response charges.
Right.
It might be $1,000, $2,000 instead.
Yeah, Stefan Molyneux covers that in terms of environmental responsibility. You can opt out of what amounts to this insurance or this agreement, but if you do, it's going to be enormously more expensive.
Right.
Orange, California has a subscription-based ambulance service.
Really?
And it's part of it's managed through the city, but it's not a government service, and it works the same way. It's like $5 a month or every 6 months, and you ambulance, you're covered. If you don't, it's $2,000, something like that. So that's actually, there are some municipalities kind of have that model built in.
They're small enough so that it's not as coercive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Little tiny towns.
Yeah, I think that if you just try to think of it in like, if I was going to implement this, how would you do it? And not the theoretical, like, well, it'd be nice if, but how would you actually do it? Let's boots on the ground, let's make this happen.
Right.
Because the theoretical stuff is, great to talk about, but let's make this happen. And so we've actually gone out and like developed a trust for ourselves for purchasing land, and people want to talk about that. We have that information now. It costs us a lot of money to make that happen, but I think it's worth it, and I want to have that information available to people.
So speaking of making things available to people, I didn't emphasize this before, but the AltExpo does have a website. It's in early stages, and what we would like for it to be is a place where when you come to New Hampshire or you're curious about New Hampshire, a place where you could go and just put in a search term and find what information has been offered available. So Peter would get a page on the site and you could find that. You can find some things now, but the site's still pretty primitive and just needs work. We actually, the AltExpo is kind of cooperatively run. It's very loosey-goosey that way, but various different people help, like Peter did the page layout for this. We convinced other people to advertise. I rented the tent. Somebody else is operating the coffee service. Somebody else is operating the t-shirt sales and everything. So we want everybody to be involved, partly because I don't want to do all the work, and partly because it'll be so much better if everybody else is involved, I may have a one-track mind on something and somebody else has like this glorious idea that I don't have. So I want to encourage that. I want to benefit from that communal feedback, community feedback.
I had 3 comments, but I forgot my third one.
That's okay.
The first one, I just found it funny that you could find that on a conservative talk show, that they would be talking about something as oddly enough progressive as a cooperative. And so I think that's kind of slightly amusing. And the second, my second point was that throughout history, religious societies and churches and stuff have always, not always, but have from time to time helped out the poor and helped out others through charities and stuff.
Yeah, I think that as a non-religious person, that I don't want to miss out on all of that community stuff that goes along with church services and stuff. And so how do you get that community that's not religious based or something like that? And so my idea is I try to integrate as much of it so that there isn't any inconsistent portions of it. So
finding points of common
I have an answer to you. 10 a.m. on Sunday, the Seekers gather. So it's an alternative spirituality group. It's started by libertarians, and we've met for like 8 or 10 years now, every Sunday. And so we've explored just that question. How do we make it? My wording was, consider spirituality in light of both ancient wisdom and modern science. So we're all about having the community benefit aspects of it. There is, as an alternative organization, I mean, churches have been an alternative to the state. Like for many, many years in in the Middle Ages and everything, there's a civil law and ecclesiastical law. And there might be 2 different courts, and even the fellow that knew the most about this history that talked to me, he said even monasteries were an attempt to retreat from the civil society because of the corruption of it and all that. And they were actually essentially large land trusts where you could live, but you usually lived an intentional monastic kind of life. But we can form our own monasteries if we want, and we can do scientific research there if we want. Or we can make candles, or like a lot of the monasteries, they make jam, they make Benedictine brandy, they make all this great stuff, and they sell it. So even a monastery may not be as restrictive as you think.
Cappuccino came from the Capuchin monks, right?
No kidding.
I think so.
Wow.
So another aspect of the co-ops and trusts is that when you buy land in the name of a trust, your name isn't registered with the Registry of Deeds, and even the trustee name. As of this past year, apparently there was a law that was passed that the trustee's name does not need to be registered with the Registry of Deeds. So if you really want to be private, and it's not illegal, that's nice. It's like this is a legal structure that the government came up with that we can use to protect our privacy. So my name doesn't end up in the Registry of Deeds or public records because this legal fiction is the legal owner, and
so we're almost out of time on this topic, and it just went by so fast I can't believe it. And I want to hear everybody's ideas. So we actually came up with an idea for this event. Like after you've let some of this stuff soak in, the last session on Saturday, 5 p.m., it's what do you say? So if you guys come up with some great idea, everybody gets 5 minutes. And throw out your idea for a better trust, a better co-op, a better who knows what. and we'll try to record it and make it available on the web or on video or something. I don't want to lose the networking, that we form here. So hopefully, maybe I got to create a sign-up sheet. But you can go to altexpo.org, join the site, by username and password. You can find what information's on there. We actually have a forum that we can create there. There's so many other forums. I'm not sure ours makes sense yet, but the software includes it. So we can have a forum for just alternatives discussions. Everybody that's a presenter here gets a page on there, so you'll actually get a page now. He can put up the information he has. It'll be searchable. So that's all I'm trying to do is keep this going. I don't want it to end at like noon on Friday. It's all over. We won't talk about it again for another year. Let's keep it up.
Thank you.
Yeah.